All right. Immediately we're able to hop into another good match. Let's check out our lineups here. On blue, we've got Ninja Ken, AF Bella, who we saw for the first time yesterday, who played a very, very good Kale. We've got Vesper. Interesting. Not quite sure how that's supposed to be pronounced. Vesper. Keith McBrief, running AD carry for his blue team. And Trisexual, going the old Zombie Karthus Revive Teleport. I will really look forward to seeing that in action. And on the purple team, we got Nidus Herman supporting on Annie, Docta as a jungle Kha'Zix, something I've seen him do extremely well with, so that should be exciting to witness. Best NA Backpack, going mid lane Orianna. Odd One is actually top laning, deferring the jungle role to Docta in this scenario. And Mongol Warrior, which is a name I have seen out and about. So we'll have to see how he does in his job on AD carry today. Now, looking down the lineup, it looks like, unfortunately, he's already become the focus of attention from the blue team. It would appear, based on what we're seeing, that unfortunately he died to aggression from Thresh and Jinx, giving Jinx the first blood. So now he's in lane with 2 Doran's Blades versus Jinx, who's got the 2 Doran's Blade and a Vamp Scepter. That's going to be a really difficult position for Mongol Warrior to actually hold. I'm really mixed up here on my matchups for the item comparisons. Bella getting ganked here, and this is what I was talking about yesterday with the power of the jungle Kha'Zix. Bella tried to back up and run away to safety under the tower, but by doing that, Bella becomes an isolated target, and that Kha'Zix Q hits tremendously hard. So anyway, as I said, Mongol Warrior going to be in a really tough spot due to the fact that he's going to get out-sustained very heftily by Keith McBrief. So getting damage onto Keith is going to be a challenge for him. He's also a level down, which makes things very difficult. Keith's getting really good solo experience right now, so he's almost certain to hit 6 first. We saw Karthus hit 6 and use his ultimate there in an attempt to pick up Docta before Docta recalled for more health. He did not come up with it. Nidus Herman in a lot of trouble right now. They're going all out on Mongol Warrior, or on Keith McBrief. Mongol Warrior now becomes isolated though without the backup of Nidus Herman, and he's going to fall for that. When you're already behind, something that you certainly cannot attempt or survive is going to be 1v2ing into the enemy support and AD carry. There's just far too much utility, far too much damage. It's a nearly impossible situation to come out on top with. Now, that does not mean Mongol Warrior or Nidus Herman made bad choices there. What we saw in that engagement was a really great use of Flame Chompers by Keith McBrief. The Flame Chompers didn't even catch anyone, but it didn't matter because what they successfully did was zone Nidus Herman away from the fight for just long enough for Keith McBrief and Vesper to isolate Mongol Warrior and go for that kill. Oh man, Docta gets seen here by Vesper. Vesper pulls himself in, but now he's alone with no one to back him up. Kha'Zix has evolved Jump, so his Q isn't an instant kill. He does manage to get out and behind his teammates, so he isn't picked off by the Jinx ultimate, but Mongol Warrior are going to have to try to flash to survive here. Vesper has not enough health to hook, I don't believe, but we now see 4 of blue have congregated at the bottom lane. Best NA Backpack attempted to make his way down to help, but by that point the fight had already dispersed, and we see at least just one flash blown from the red team. That was Mongol Warrior. I'm not sure if any. It looks like Vesper had to use his flash. That's right. After he got caught by the Kha'Zix, he had to flash away to try to get to safety. So now we've got Keith McBrief already 6, and Mongol Warrior actually is not even that close to 6 yet. This is going to continue to be a very, very difficult lane for bottom. Jinx already is 3-0 at this point. Has nearly twice the last hits of Mongol Warrior. Mongol Warrior 0-2. So we'll be interested in seeing if this game plays out the way that we've discussed in the past, with snowballing AD carries turning into a snowballing game, because Jinx is well on the way to becoming a monster in this matchup. That is no guarantee. There's no reason to believe that she absolutely will snowball. It could get turned around. We could see Docta focusing a lot of attention on trying to take down Jinx. Jinx's big weakness, she's not a very great escape artist, so ganks on her are still an effective option. Blue signaling they want to go for the Baron here. Good choice on their part. Docta's actually going to continue to stick with the kills that he thinks are easiest. And once again dies AF Bella. Odd One gets knocked down by the tower, but it doesn't matter because he has his passive up and he knows it. Blue team uses that opportunity to pick up a dragon and pull themselves about 1,300 gold in the lead. Not bad, it's respectable. We're going to see Odd One and Docta try for this tower here. Docta's going to tank for a little bit and then just make his way out. Going to be a good tower trade by red. They go for the gank, they lose the dragon. No big deal, we'll just pick up the tower. Making the best of the scenario that they found themselves in. Now, Keith McBrief... Oh, okay, interesting. I was going to say, Keith McBrief and Vsepper maybe disconnected both of them standing in front of the tower, but in fact, that was just Keith McBrief waiting to get the last hit on the turret. A really smart play. We'll see. That still, in my experience, isn't really a huge part of people's play in League of Legends yet, realizing that you pretty much need to get at least an assist on the tower, and you want to be, not only do you want to be in range when that tower goes down, but you really, really want to get an assist. That generates much more gold for yourself than just having a tower die in general. So Vsepper making the most, not Vsepper, Keith McBrief making the most of that tower death, which is just going to help him get even further ahead. Excuse me. In the lane now we see Keith McBrief with a Bloodthirster and 2 Dorans up against Mongol Warrior, who's got the 2 Dorans, but only got the Vamp Scepter part of the Bloodthirster, so he's really, really struggling. On the flip side, Nasus is also struggling pretty tremendously against Odd One. Nasus 0-2 with 70 CS, Odd One 1-0-1 with 93 CS, and he's already got his Sunfire cape. So Nasus realistically is in about as bad a situation as Mongol Warrior is finding himself in, truth be told. Nasus cannot attempt to fight the Odd One. Mongol Warrior cannot attempt to fight Keith McBrief. Oh, God. My apologies again. Whew. Gotta wake up. So, what are Red's options for handling this bottom lane? Really, the only thing that they can do at this point in time is hope to get roams from mid lane and ganks from Docta. That's all they can hope for. Now, if you're Docta or mid lane, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're interested in doing that. It's a risky proposition because you could lose people in that fight. And in fact, either Docta or mid lane, if either of them roamed, they could be killed in that scenario. Odd One looking to put some pressure on Blue. No, he's... Oh. Yes, he is. He backed off for a second. Wasn't sure totally what was going on. He actually does manage to pick himself up the Blue, and he should be able to escape here. He's going to try to jump out, run away from Karthus. Unfortunately, if he's not fast enough, he will get killed. He flashes away. Karthus' ultimate is up, so he could look to channel Requiem, although I don't think Odd One's low enough for him to pick up that kill. He is not, so Karthus saves the ultimate for another day. Keith McBrief pushing Mongol Warrior out the creeps, saying, hey, get out of here. I don't need you around. You don't know me. Don't judge me. AF Bella getting some much needed solo farm. I think he might even, he is in fact a level behind Odd One as well, so he's definitely struggling. Hello, dog. So we haven't taken much of a look at our mid lane matchup. It would appear Karthus is substantially behind, or at least notably behind, Orianna here. Orianna with about 20 more CS and up a level, which is the really interesting part, I believe. They've now just evened out, but it would appear that Karthus is really getting pushed around quite a lot by this Orianna. Karthus trying to go for a little bit of a tanky build. I'm really unsure what that giant spell is going to turn into. It'd be interesting to see if Karthus went for a Rylai's Crystal Scepter. That would be something I haven't seen practically ever. At least since Season 2 or Season 1. Now, Orianna trying to put a lot of pressure on this tower. Docta's going to come in, gets the isolated Q after his W to remove the minion, and we just see Karthus drop. Doctor could get picked up realistically by Hecarim here, though, so he's in trouble. Nope. Ninja Ken is rebuffed by Best NA Backpack's damage output. He's really hitting hard on that Orianna. All he has is an Athene's Unholy Grail, but he is putting out so much damage right now. Odd One also no slouch on adding lane pressure. He is bullying around Bella and pushing that lane right up into the tower every chance that he gets. He's taking tower harass, doesn't even bother him. Ninja Ken getting caught out underneath his turret by Nidus Man with the roam. Really, really nice play by Red. Really good surround and roaming. And they managed to get out before the bottom lane from Red comes and makes it a problem. We now see Orianna is going to escape out towards the north side of the map, and it would appear Mongol Warriors attempting to push down that bottom turret. And if we see that, this could be the perfect way for Red to bring Mongol Warrior back into the game. Go for those global objectives. We got the tower down in mid. We now have the tower down in bot. Odd One took the tower in top a while ago. And we're seeing Red now with the advantage in the gold. Up about 1,200. Now I wonder, I still believe Jinx is going to be quite a bit ahead on the gold. In fact, she is 1,500 gold. Interesting. Red as a team is up 1,200 gold, but Jinx as a player is up 1,500 gold on Sivir. That really goes to show you that that gold advantage for Red is certainly not coming from Sivir. So Blue is going to say that, hey, we can play the objective game too. And they're going to pick off the dragon here. Uncontested, even unknown about. Red probably has a good idea, but they have no actual vision on it, so they're not going to have a great timer for when that's going to come back up. But they have the Odd One, so he's probably all over it. He likely saw when they backed out of the dragon pit and could make a fairly accurate guess. Nidus Man getting into that vision game. She's now, I'm not sure if Nidus Man started with a sweeper, but at the very least has now picked up a sweeper. And is gonna be going around trying to shut down some of those wards from Blue. If you take a look at the minimap right now, you'll see extremely good warding by Red. They've got some exceptionally deep wards in the opposing side of the map. They've got really good vision right now. I'm not sure how long those wards are going to stick around, but it's really nice vision coverage here by the red team. Best NA Backpack's going to go in for a kill attempt on Trisexual the Karthus. Best NA Backpack gets pulled into the Flame Chompers by Jinx, and Jinx will in fact pick up the kill. Jinx, I think, still has her ultimate. She does. She's going to use it to pick up Doctor here. Nidus Her Man is left alone versus Visepper and Keith is going to pick up a triple kill. Just kidding. It's only a double kill, so I guess Visepper must have... No, he didn't get one of those kills. Oh, okay. One of the kills went to Karthus. I was going to say... So only Visepper and Jinx in the mid lane. 3 key people dead on Red, but no triple kill. Now that's that sneaky Karthus contributing to that fight even when he wasn't around. So I would say that was all going well until Best NA Backpack got pulled into the Flame Chompers, and then he was toast. Now Blue taking a huge risk here, going for Baron. It is warded. Odd One's in the area. He knows it's around. He's going to attempt to jump in and probably pop his ultimate. He is. Between Baron and the Odd One damage, we're going to see at least 2 people die here. Make that 3 because Visepper will surely be going down. He does go down. Nasus is going to attempt to finish out the Baron. He's going to successfully get it with the help of Karthus. Odd One's going to revive, but he is super low. He's going to go for Keith McBrief. Doctor's going to hop in and help out, pick up that kill. And the only person left on Blue right now is AF Bella on Nasus as he tries to run away to safety. He very well could make it. Doctor's going to attempt to sneak up and get him here. Doctor gets the red proc from his missiles, gets the red proc from his Q, but it's not quite going to be enough. So, Blue team successfully gets the Baron, loses it on all members except for Nasus. They do pick up 1 kill for their strive. So, Blue team with Baron and 1 kill, Red team with 4 kills. Who came out more on top in that scenario? Really hard to say. I'm not positive of the gold values of all the players that went down. I'm not positive of the gold value on Baron. But I would say that probably broke even realistically. So, really bold move by the Blue team. Really good defense attempt by the Red team. Unfortunately, they don't manage to steal the Baron. Unfortunately, they don't manage to kill everyone from Blue. But it still turns out fairly positively for them. And out of this, we're seeing a 5-1 Doctor. Now, the 6-1 Jinx on the blue team is, of course, a very scary prospect. But what is the best class of champions in the game at taking down Fed 80 carries? Assassins. And what is extremely fed on the red team? An assassin. It'd be really interesting to see the back and forth between who does a better job at the role. Does Jinx do a better job of putting out extremely high amounts of damage from the back line? Or does Docta do a better job of assassinating Jinx in these team fights? Whichever one is able to get in and get that edge is going to carry their team to victory, I'd imagine. Both of them are very capable of killing their opponents. Now Docta here going to catch out Karthus. Going to pick up NA Backpack's going to throw in his ultimate onto Docta, and that's going to be all she wrote for Karthus. Now Docta's going to get nearly picked off by the combination of Karthus and Jinx ultimate. The odd one jumps into the middle of Keith McBrief and is going to be giving it all he's got to try to take him down, but he has no backup. Right now, Odd One is surrounded. He gets another jump on a Keith McBrief. Odd One with some extremely good Zac play. But he is still surrounded, which means he's still in danger. He needs help. The revive Karthus is used, picks himself up a double kill. Odd One's going to go down. He has no passive up. Karthus takes part in 3 kills so far. Best NA Backpack is getting soloed by Nasus right now. Get hit with a Wither and a Gate from Karthus, and he gets picked off. So that's a triple for Karthus in this scenario. Docta's going to go for the assassinate on Keith McBrief, but he just doesn't have enough. Not in that scenario. He's not quite there yet. So now we see, I believe, a delayed ace against blue team. Sorry, against red team, and blue team is pushing down for inhibitor turret. I'll be interested in seeing if they are brave enough, they have the damage for that inhibitor. And they will, in fact, stick around long enough to pick that up. Now Nidus Herman in trouble as he gets caught out. Karthus is going to be going for the kill. He needs to, there we go. So he needs one more fake out attempt to get rid of that Q. Oh, Nidus Herman just barely is missed by that Jinx ultimate. Really smart play by Jinx to try to pick off Nidus Herman as he heads back to the fountain to heal. But he unfortunately just aimed slightly too high. He did not take into consideration that Nidus Herman would be coming on to that inhibitor, coming on to the summoner platform from the bottom side, and it just barely swings north. Blue team now are going to pick up Dragon as they back out. We saw Jinx pick up the opposing red buff on her way back out. Best Backpack NA is going to get caught here, but I wasn't all that convinced that he was in a bad spot, but the ultimate from Ninja Ken and the teleport in from Karthus means that he's in huge trouble. Mongol doesn't have Spell Shield up to stop the Flay, so he gets picked off. Just doesn't quite have the move speed to run out of there yet. He does have a Zeal, but clearly just not quite fast enough. That could be because of the Boots 5 and the Sun Disc? Talisman of Ascension on Thresh. He's unable to escape. Now, Keith McBrief still no defensive items, but seemingly a lot of health. Between the 2 Doran's Blades and the red pot, he's actually got a little bit of chunk going on. Not all that easy to take down. Of course, he has a lot of lifesteal as well, which makes assassinating him a little bit more difficult for Docta. Docta still doesn't have a Ravenous, so he's still missing a little bit of his damage, as well as the fact that a Ravenous Hydra provides you a whole lot of sustain. So he's going into these scenarios with very little sustain against a carry who has a lot of sustain. Now he's picked up that Hydra. He stands a considerably better shot, but he is going to need more items if he wants to successfully assassinate Jinx in a 1v1. Isolated Qs alone are not quite going to be enough. Now, he's got that Brutalizer, and he picked up another Longsword. We'll have to see if that Longsword is going to go towards a Last Whisper, or if he's going to finish the Brutalizer first before he picks up a Last Whisper for armor penetration. Red team attempting to close in. Jinx and Thresh in the bottom lane, but could end up paying for it. Ninja Ken is pushing the middle lane straight into the Nexus turrets. Mind you, Nexus turrets heal, so unless he takes it down, it won't make a difference. Odd One gets flayed backwards mid-jump by Thresh. Thresh then hooks Odd One on his attempt to escape. Keith McBrief is putting out a truly incredible amount of damage. brings Odd One in the passive, but Doctor's going to come in on an extremely low Keith McBrief and take him out. Mongol Warrior pops his barrier to just barely survive the Karthus ultimate. And in fact, we have seen now, Karthus did pick up a Rylai's Crystal Scepter. Really, really interesting choice. Haven't seen that in a long time. Really a great item and a nice way to fit in a little utility for your team, but not necessarily something you'd expect to be coming out of Karthus. So red team still struggling in many ways. The 8-2 Jinx is just giving a tremendous amount of difficulty to this game from the red perspective, but they're really doing a great job of fighting with it. Now, Doctor going to use his W and his smite to pick up that blue from under Ninja Ken's nose. Good job defending his own buff. Unfortunately, it doesn't get to go to Orianna, but it's certainly better than no one from blue team having it. And we can take a brief pause for just a second as the action finally calms down ever so slightly. Red is now surrounding Baron Nashor and did ping it, but we see that Annie's recalling, so it's clearly not an immediate threat for red. They're not trying to take it just this second. Odd One's going to recall. Could be really unfortunate timing since blue is pinging the Baron. Odd One actually cancels his recall. Probably a good idea. Now blue pings Sivir because they see she's at the bottom lane. Sivir immediately makes her run back. There's actually a huge number of blue wards on the bottom side of the map there. I'm not sure why there were so many all in that one area. Blue is putting a lot of effort into clearing out the red vision around Baron. So it could be that they're very interested in making a play on the Baron buff. Now I wonder who Blue is going to give their blue buff to. Looks like Karthus is going to pick that up. Not a bad idea, of course. Mana regeneration on Karthus extremely important. If a Karthus runs out of mana while he's alive, he's very useless. Now, should he die, then mana doesn't really matter. He's got infinite mana while he's dead. He's going to pop his Zonius. He's probably going to just get picked off anyway. We'll have to see, however, if this is going to be some kind of situation. Great ultimate dodge by Doctor, but he gets picked off by the back corner of the Zap and he dies anyway. Odd One's going to get hooked and he's now in a lot of trouble. He gets knocked into the Flame Chompers, but we see Nice Herman come in with an ultimate and a Mongol Warrior with a Q that just barely manages to pick off Jinx on its way back. And Thresh goes down. Wonderful, wonderful play by Red to come support Odd One on his engagement. What looked like a very, very dangerous and deadly situation for Odd One turns out in their advantage. Now we have AF Bella who's pushing the bottom lane. Red is going to have to try to recall and do something about this because once that bottom lane turret goes down to AF Bella, there are 2 inhibitors that are open that he can potentially take. We've already seen AF Bella get that inhibitor turret, and now he's working on the inhibitor. And if Karthus doesn't let them recall, he's going to be able to get the mid inhibitor as well. Down 1 inhibitor now for Red. Doctor's trying to fly in and make something happen. He does manage to scare off Bella. So the rest of the inhibitors are safe for Red. But still, 1 inhibitor down is going to pose a very big problem for Red, particularly since it's the inhibitor in the lane that's farthest from Baron. That's going to be a very big issue for them to try to deal with in the coming fights. The impossible choice between losing your base and losing Baron has really been reduced in the frequency that we see it with the changes to how inhibitors work in the other lanes. But in this case, that is the ideal inhibitor to have down if you're on the blue team. Comparatively, the inhibitor that is down in blue's base is the middle lane inhibitor, which is a much, much easier lane to manage. That is arguably the lane with the best access to Baron. So it's very, very easy for blue to keep their mid lane clear and have that not be a problem. Nasus, who has teleport, is going to be split pushing right now in what is a genius move by blue. I believe they just sent, yes, they sent Jinx. She's going to pick up Dragon on her own. So that's going to be more gold in the pockets of blue. Nasus is going to be split pushing. There's no one on the red team who has teleport. So if blue does go for Baron, Nasus is going to be able to go support, and red team is not. However, it does not matter because Bella is just going to annihilate Odd One here. Odd One's going to get hit by the Karthus ultimate. It actually does surprisingly little damage Odd One manages to get out and escape. We see the Jinx ultimate fly just a little low. Doesn't manage to pick up Odd One. And Blue has begun the Baron. Now Red has a really good team for fighting in the Baron pit. They got the Orianna ultimate and the ultimate coming out of Annie, as well as a lot of AoE damage from Sivir. Bella manages to take out the middle inhibitor before he goes down, and now it's just Odd One trying to defend the base with 2 inhibitors down. There's a bunch of super minions for Red that are in the base of Blue, and they take down a Nexus turret, so now Blue has lost a turret. Ninjakan and Thresh are attempting to put up a defense on this Baron. We'll have to see what happens. They're not going to be able to stop the Ninjakan ultimate with a wall. Doctor gets picked off and he dies. Karthus teleports in and he's creating huge problems. We're going to see Best Backpack NA go down. Mongol Warrior and Orianna are trying to do their best to support this fight, but it's not going to be enough. Best Backpack NA gets picked up. Nidus Man barely escapes with any health. Odd One is the only one left healthy from his team. But remember, there are 2 inhibitors down in the red base. We see Bella now teleporting into the Baron pit. And Odd One is going to have to attempt to mount a 1v4 Baron resistance that he'll almost certainly die for. We know that. No, okay, he's just going to give up. He's not going to attempt the random super risk Baron steal at the guaranteed cost of his life. He says, nope, too risky for me, I'm out. So now we have an 8,500 gold lead coming out in favor of Blue, as well as a Baron buff on them. They are 2 towers up. They have 2 red inhibitors down. Their inhibitor is down, however. That should be respawning shortly. And they look to push the final lane that has an inhibitor standing. Bella's just going to walk up and get a nice Q chunk on that turret. Best Backpack NA gets hooked in and dies. Hooked in and dies, and I believe this is the end. This is going to be all that was written for Red Team. Odd One just gets taken out immediately. Docta's down. Mongol Warrior gets caught. Nidus Man takes a Jinx ultimate to the face, and we have an ace for Red Team. That would have been an extremely difficult defense in the first place, but losing one of your highest damage sources right off the bat in the form of Orianna getting hooked and dying is just a death sentence. Ho-ho! But literally, a death sentence in that scenario, because without that utility, without that damage, without that threat, we just saw Blue absolutely run right into and run over the Red Team. Orianna was really the #1 thing that they were afraid of. Sure, the Docta assassinations are something to worry about, but that's only going to be a problem, or even possible, with Orianna, with the chaos that Orianna was going to be able to create between her ultimate and her distortion? Her ultimate and her W. A lot of damage output, a lot of displacement, a lot of slow, which allows Kha'Zix to sneak in under cover of his ultimate invisibility and hop onto an unsuspecting target and just drop them. But remove Orianna from that equation, and none of that is possible. So really, really nice job by Blue Team. Really great play by VSEPR on Thresh to finish off that game.